Hi, welcome back. So this is going to be a quick little video on how I prepare my tremolo. So of course you're going to always practice your tremolo pieces slow. One other good way is doing it staccato. But another thing that I do is I do a chromatic scale. So in previous videos I do kind of a modified chromatic scale on the top 3 strings. And partly the reason why I do it on the top 3 strings is because it protects my nails. So if I'm always playing on the 6th string and the bass strings, you know, it might shred my nails after a while. So I do that with Segovia scales and whatnot, but not everything. So in this case, we're going to do what's called triplets. So I'm going to do AMI. So again, PIMA, right? And so I'm going to be playing AMI. All right, so this is going to prepare kind of that triplet feel that happens with the tremolo. But it's going to be all on one string. So I'll show you here. So you're going to have AMI. And then so the chromatic scale, it's a modified version of the chromatic scale, but it's just the first 4 frets on the first 3 strings. So when I get there, I just scoot up with pinky and go the opposite direction. And then back up. So you're always moving up the neck. But it's going to be modified. So this way, I'm going to do some faster movements with my right hand, but it's a little slower for my left hand, so I can kind of focus more on the right. So triplets. So you can think of it 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly if you'd like. But it's always going to be the same combination of AMI. So. So again, Okay, so I'll do it again. So. Okay, so as you can see, I go all the way up the neck. And so you want to do this rest stroke and free stroke. So if you're not too familiar with rest stroke and free stroke, again, you're just laying your finger. So you can think of it like this. Your knuckle is going to be farther back from what the string you're playing on, right? So if you're playing free stroke, your knuckle should be over the string that you're playing on. So this is kind of how I train some of my students to kind of recognize if they're doing rest stroke versus free stroke when they're middle school. So in this case, we're going to have this a little bit farther back. My thumb could be holding on. Probably will be if I'm on, the 3rd string. So, right, so just like that. And I'm landing on the string behind it. So again, aka rest stroke, right? So. Okay. And then you just bring it over here and you keep the right hand, the left hand really simple so that you can focus on the right hand. So, right, so then you can speed it up. But honestly, I prefer doing it staccato and slow. It's less fatiguing, although I do it with the metronome, of course, at different levels. But I get the most benefit for tremolo if I'm doing it staccato and just really slow. So if I'm doing recuerdos or anything like that, more benefit. Or if I have to play a gig and I haven't maybe played recuerdos in a while, I'll just play it slow. And I know if I play it slow once or twice, as long as I've obviously been practicing other things, I'm going to probably be able to nail it. And I usually use that as a warm-up piece for gigs. Or I'll throw it in, when people actually are paying attention, right? So if you're doing background noise gigs for like a wedding or, the cocktail hour or something like this, you don't want to always play all your best pieces, right off the bat. Like you start off with something slow, you warm up a bit, it dies down, and then you play like Mallorca or Asturias or Recuerdos or something like that. And then obviously, and I'll mix in other things too, but that's a different video. So again, yeah, so triplets, and then free stroke. For the free stroke version, I always have my thumb right on the string next to the one I'm playing on. So, and the thumb kind of just jumps as I go to string from string to string. So, third. And as I jump for that A finger, my thumb also goes with it. So again, triplets, right? So for the right hand. Thanks for watching.